The story opens in a bar where Benny, a biker, is enjoying a drink. Two men approach him, insisting that he either take off his jacket or leave. Ignoring their threats, Benny faces their growing anger and is soon attacked by them. "You'd have to kill me to get this jacket off," Benny defiantly shouts. The film's narrator, Kathy, then shares, "I've had nothing but trouble since I met Benny." She draws us into the turbulent world of motorcycle gangs, recalling the first time she encountered the Vandals. Entering the club, she immediately feels uneasy, especially when two rowdy bikers named Corky and Waho try to flirt with her. She quickly brushes them off and finds her friend, who is sitting with a guy Kathy calls Cockroach. As the night goes on, Kathy feels more and more uncomfortable with the atmosphere of the club until her attention is captured by Benny just as she decides to leave. Despite Benny's ties to the Vandals, Kathy finds herself drawn to his charm and good looks. Benny approaches her, trying to win her over with his smooth demeanor. Although Kathy tries to turn him down, reminding him of her boyfriend, Benny remains persistent. Soon after, Johnny, the leader of the troublemakers, introduces himself and assures her that the motorcyclists simply want to have a good time. Kathy expresses her gratitude for the conversation. She bids her farewells and leaves, but Benny persists. He follows her outside, offering to drive her home on his motorcycle. As the bikers approach, Kathy hesitates when they ask her for a ride, feeling uneasy with the group. She opts to join Benny on his bike after concluding that it is a better choice. The bikers cheer and laugh as she jumps on Benny's bike, calling out their names as they depart from the club. During the journey, Kathy begins to enjoy Benny's cologne, but soon realizes he is not taking her home. Instead, he takes her to another club for a drink. After some drinks, Benny eventually escorts Kathy home on his motorcycle, where she is met by a furious boyfriend demanding an explanation for her whereabouts. Annoyed by Benny's behavior, Kathy ignores her boyfriend and walks indoors. Outside, Benny remains seated on his motorcycle, defiantly smoking and reluctant to leave until the early hours of the morning. Kathy warns him to go home, cautioning that her boyfriend will become suspicious if he sees Benny upon returning from work. Benny dismisses her warning, appearing unaffected by the potential consequences of his actions. When Kathy's boyfriend arrives home from work to find Benny still there, a heated argument ensues. Expressing his frustration, he packs his bags and drives away, declaring that he is done. Despite this conflict, the strong connection between Benny and Kathy continues to grow, culminating in their marriage just 5 weeks after they first met. During an interview, the viewer probes into Kathy's past, inquiring about Johnny, the leader of the Vandals. Kathy recounts Johnny's background, sharing that he drew inspiration for the club from a television show he watched with his wife. Johnny, a devoted family man married to Betty and father of 2 daughters, cherished riding with his companions. Before the Vandals existed, Johnny and his friend Jimmy ran a racing club. Although Johnny was passionate about racing, he harbored grander aspirations. He envisioned creating a riding club that went beyond mere discussions about motorcycles. However, Jimmy had doubts about Johnny's idea. Nevertheless, undeterred, Johnny decided to create his own riding club, recruiting 12 members, including Keiki Wahoo and Brucey, his trusted associate. One day, Johnny's friend Jack reveals a violent side, pressuring Johnny to allow some of his friends to join the Vandals Club. When Johnny declines, Jack becomes furious and challenges him to a physical altercation. Johnny accepts the challenge, asking Jack to choose between fists or knives. Jack agrees, clarifying that he does not intend to kill Johnny. Following this confrontation, the Vandals start attracting new members, and the club grows significantly in size and influence. During a motorcycle rally, the Vandals ride through the streets, capturing the attention and admiration of spectators. Their journey leads them to a car show where they quickly become the center of attention. Before long, another biker gang known as the Gary Rogues arrives, escalating tensions and sparking a confrontation between the two groups. Led by Johnny and Benny, the Vandals defend themselves against the Gary Rogues, determined to establish their authority in the biking community. The situation takes a sudden turn when Benny is brutally attacked by 2 hooligans outside a bar, leaving him with serious injuries. Despite Benny usually being composed, Kathy confesses to Denny that she had never witnessed him cry before. The closest she had seen him break down was not due to the pain but because he feared he might never ride a bike again due to his injuries. Upon learning about this, Johnny's rage escalates, and he leads the Vandals in a quest for vengeance. They charge into the Thugs Club, setting it on fire and inflicting injuries on the attackers. Meanwhile, Kathy takes care of Benny during his recovery, moving him to a more accessible place without stairs. She devotes her time to him, ensuring he remains distracted from his traumatic experience. When Johnny visits to check on Benny, the two friends talk about their past riding adventures. Upon overhearing their conversation, Kathy becomes anxious, worried that Benny might be tempted to rejoin the biker lifestyle too soon after his surgery. She presents Benny with a choice between the club and their relationship, urging him to make a decision. Despite her plea, Benny ultimately decides to return to the Vandals, leaving Kathy devastated and furious. She confronts Johnny, pleading with him to keep Benny away from the club for his own well-being. However, Johnny remains resolute in his belief that Benny, as an adult, should be able to make his own choices. As tensions rise, Kathy realizes that Johnny will not listen to her pleas and leaves. The atmosphere at the Vandals family gathering shifts when Sonny starts teasing Cal, who seems vulnerable and uncomfortable under the group's scrutiny. Johnny and Benny walk away to have a private conversation, during which Johnny expresses his desire for Benny to take over as the club leader eventually, as he cannot run it forever. Benny suggests Brucey as his successor, but Johnny insists that it must be Benny and urges him to consider the offer. While Kathy continues to observe the unspoken interaction between Johnny and Benny, noticing that their earlier private discussion still weighs on Benny's mind, she shares her thoughts with Denny. Kathy reflects on her own experiences of trying to improve her partner to no avail, recalling the period following Brucey's death, including the club's collective mourning and Johnny's emotional breakdown when visiting Brucey's home. Meanwhile, Johnny faces a confrontation with a group of young bikers called the Renegades. They express interest in joining the Vandals, but Johnny, still reeling from Brucey's passing, rejects their offer, stating that the Vandals do not accept inexperienced riders. Undeterred, the Renegades leader insists that they are all over 20 years old and have built their bikes without external help. Johnny, impressed by the leader's cleverness, offers him a place in the Vandals on the condition that he must abandon his friends. This is actually a test of loyalty. Johnny wants to see if the leader will choose the Vandals over his comrades. When the leader agrees, Johnny recognizes his disloyalty and rejects him. Angered, the leader tries to stab Johnny as he walks away, but Johnny quickly reacts and knocks him to the ground, then tells him to leave. After finishing school in 1973, Denny returns to find the Vandals in chaos. Kathy tells him that the club has split into old and new members, with the latter bringing in drugs and alcohol. Even Cockroach, a longtime member, is planning to leave and become a motorcycle cop. When the new members find out about his plans, they viciously attack him. Johnny, learning of this, rushes Cockroach to the hospital, leaving Kathy alone at the club. In Johnny's absence, the new members harass and try to assault Kathy. However, Johnny returns just in time, furiously punishing the men for their actions. Cockroach comes back with severe injuries, including a broken arm and ribs, and tells Johnny he wants to quit the club but fears retaliation from the new members. Johnny vowed to keep him safe. As Benny gets ready to meet John, he grabs a gun, prepared for whatever the night may bring. Before he can leave, Kathy confronts him, pleading with him to abandon the Vandals and avoid the accompanying peril. Conflicted and annoyed, Benny disregards her pleas and goes to meet Johnny, armed. Johnny is also ready, bringing a gun along. They head to Cockroach's house, where Cockroach allows Johnny to shoot him in the leg, intending to blame the new club members after calling the police. Benny is bothered by the situation and the direction of the Vandals. He shares his concerns with Johnny, who proposes leaving the club under Benny's leadership. Benny rejects this responsibility, feeling unfit to decide the club's future, and leaves without saying a word, upsetting both Kathy and Johnny. Later, Benny returns to challenge Johnny for leadership, suggesting a fight. Johnny accepts the challenge, and the next day, they gather in a parking lot. As Johnny approaches, Benny suddenly pulls a gun, killing Johnny. After Johnny's death, Benny takes control of the Vandals, transforming the previously innocent motorcycle club into a dangerous criminal gang. The gang rapidly expands throughout the Midwest and beyond, becoming more violent. The original members either leave or join the new Vandals, led by Benny, who exploits fear and crime to grow their power. She explained that some old members, like Wahoo and Corky, still rode with Benny while Cal died painting houses in Lakewood. Sonny earned $5 sitting outside a theater to promote Easy Rider, and Cockroach became a motorcycle cop. Zipco went back to Texas to work on a shrimp boat. Benny, however, distanced himself from everyone. Upon learning about Johnny's death, he goes back to Kathy in Florida. He finds solace by working as a mechanic there. The film concludes with Benny smiling at Kathy while she looks out the window, with both of them finally liberated from the chaos of the motorcycle club. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thanks and see you again soon. Take care.